Deputy Mayor. He joins me now live from Italy. Mr. Venturini, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us here on Quest Means Business. Look, for so many years we have covered the flooding, haven't we, in Venice. This is now changing quite rapidly with your waterways that we just showed our viewers running dry. How concerned are you, but what you've been seeing by the trends here?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Low tide in Venice happened as high tide. So during the year, some days we have a very, very low tide. In this case, it's just the combination of the astronomical tide, the high pressure, and the wind from the north. So nothing extraordinary, nothing to worry about. The real risk for Venice, of course, is the sea level rise. So this is the most important challenge that Venice, but all, I think, the city on the coast needs to tackle. So just a normal situation, just few days during a year, and nothing to worry about. Of course, we are dealing with the high tide situation in Venice. This is the most important challenge, but we have a big news. So right now, the Mose system is a big dam on the bottom of the sea that protects Venice from the high tide, from the waves from the sea, is working. So after 20 years of construction, Mose system works, and it's very important for the city because we are right now defended from the high tide situations.
And we saw, you were talking obviously about Venice, but we saw similar pictures, I believe, I think it was this year, was it last year? No, early this year in the Alps with it packing less snow. So in terms of, you know, you talked about what can be done from your perspective, the system you've got in place to control kind of the high tides. What is your biggest concern now? Is the expectation that we'll be seeing more droughts this year?
Drought is a problem not in the sea, in the city of Venice, of course, is most in the mountain and in the plains and the pasture, of course. Venice is challenged. A long-term risk is due to the sea level rise. So this is the most important long-term problem for the city, as for New York, for Miami, for London, for other cities in Italy. In the short term, we are protected by the Mose system, of course, but in 100 years, nobody knows how high the sea will be. So this is the most important challenge, of course.
And what else can be done then? You're talking, obviously, about the dam system. Is there anything can be done at a more regional level to try? Go ahead.
Yeah, we are constructing a system to make the floor of Venice higher. So St. Mark's Square, for example, is a very low floor, and sometimes the water arrives in St. Mark's Square and in the church of St. Mark Square, St. Mark's Basilica di San Marco, of course. And it's very dangerous for the mosaics, for the stones, for the marbles, because it's salted water. So we are protecting the church, of course, and we are constructing a new floor on the square of San Marco that makes the floor higher so the water cannot touch it.
Wow. And despite, of course, the pictures that you've just painted, really, people continue to turn out, right? Continues to attract so many visitors. The last time, I believe, you spoke to our show here on Quest Means Business, there was talk about a tourist tax. What happened to that?
Yeah, everybody loves Venice, so we are attracting a lot of tourists. The most of it arrive in Venice with the sentiment to love it, to love the city, to respect it. Some tourists arrive just to hit and run a situation. They arrive and they left in 3 hours. So they leave nothing to the city and they consume the city. So we are working, we are discussing the city council right now to start a booking system for the visit of the city with a small fee to pay if you are a daily tourist. If
How
you
much?
sleep in Venice,
How much is that?
the
How much
range
would that
will be from 3 to 10 euro, the range. And it depends on the from the reservation in this period. So the most booking period will be, of course, higher, and in the lowest season will be lower. So in February, November will be lower, of course.
And you think that's enough, Mr. Venturini, to deter visitors?
No, it's just a small piece of a big plan to attract not only less tourists, but different kind of tourists. We are switching from a quantity model, the more the merrier, in a quality model. So we want a different kind of tourism, more respectful of the city, who can stay a bit more, maybe 2 nights, 3 nights, 4 nights, and enjoy the city in the night, in the day, in the afternoon, and discover the place in the city where nobody goes. So the unbeaten path. And we are working to instruct the tourists to discover and get lost in Venice. It's the most beautiful thing that can happen. Get lost in Venice. I will advise everyone to get lost in Venice, maybe in the evening. So it's a big plan with a lot of different pieces. Of course, the reservation, the booking system will be very big stones on this street.
That's a very good slogan there, Mr. Venturini. Get lost in Venice. I'll maybe keep that one. Mr. Venturini, we appreciate, Simone Venturini, appreciate you taking the time to speak to us. Thank you very much, sir.